First thing I want to do is apologize for the bright light. As you can see, the studio is also my office. But I wanted to get out this video supplement to the series of essays I've been writing about the chronologically superior. And that term, by the way, I use kind of jokingly, but not jokingly. For me, there's a difference between being old and being an individual who recognizes, embraces, as a matter of fact, the aging process. Yes, absolutely, the body's going to deteriorate. That's the whole process. That's the way it's meant to be. But as the mind begins to synthesize all the experiences, those people who are truly chronologically superior grow in stature as opposed to shrink. And by that I mean, yes, you have the inevitability associated with aging physically, but you also have this huge opportunity to serve as a mentor, to reflect and guide others, to, I think, geometrically enhance your life because of the experiences you've had. And then the issue is, do you share those? Do you hoard those? Do you toss them aside? What do you do with them? So that's chronologically superior as opposed to being just old. And I use a couple of signs in there. One is an actual road sign that a friend of mine took when he was in Great Britain, showing the traditional view of an old person. It's a slumped over couple, and they're obviously going very slow trying to cross the street. And yeah, at some point that is true. But we have this idea that that happens as soon as the white hair appears. And that's not the way it is. Now, it used to be that way when my great-grandfather in his era, and my grandfather in his era, and perhaps a little bit with my dad in his era. But increasingly, that's not the case. Those of us who are in our 60s, if we've been living well and assuming no trucks coming down the highway and taking us out, we're going to be around for a long time. So the issue is, how do we maximize not only us for our personal lives, but for society, this huge resource that we have. So in the summary, I talk a bit about that, how we tend to talk down to old people, not in any kind of a mean sense, but that idea of all of a sudden we talk much louder and we talk slower, and often we talk with the same affect that we use for children or maybe even our pets. The danger of that is that whole phenomena known as priming. So you do that to me enough times, enough sweeties, enough honeys, enough, you don't need to do that, I'll take care of it for you. And pretty soon the individual assimilates and becomes your expectation. So caution, caution, caution in terms of dealing with people who have white hair, people who are over 60, over 70, over 80. One of my prime mentors in my professional, my personal life is Bert Yaffe. And Bert, when we would go out to lunch, and Bert in his 90s, I would sit and listen to him and marvel at how sharp his mind was. So a caution in terms of how we approach people who are older. And then I talk a bit about the realities in terms of the population distribution and the fact that with my great-grandfather, it was 4% over the age of 65. With my grandfather, it was 8%. With my father, it was 10%. With my generation, there are 13% of the population that are 65 years of age and older. My granddaughter, her cohort, by the time she's 65, that'll be 23% of the population, will be what we used to call old. In fact, when Social Security was first initiated back in 1935, it was really, and in fact, it reflected, and even the words were used, as a vehicle for old people. And of course, life expectancy at that time made it very manageable to have such a policy in place. So I talk about that, and then I talk about the 5 W's, which is the model I developed years ago for wrapping my arms around issues, and that deals with the whole what's happening, the current status, so what now, what next, what difference does it make, and I run through this as an issue. So the issue becomes our aging population, or AKA, what are we going to do about grandma and grandpa? And then take it through the model. So That's what you have here in the summary report. The full report will be available beginning tomorrow. And as with all of my reports, you don't have to give me an email. I will never track it. I'm not selling you anything. I will provide you with a link and you can download the PDF. And if you want to communicate, great. If you don't, that's fine as well. So these are just kind of out there for you to reflect upon. Certainly I am a student as well as a teacher. So if you see things or you hear things, please let me know. All right? Okay. All right. Very good.